Sent to teams this morning and obtained by ESPN. Coaches will get one challenge per game. They'll lose it even if the challenge is successful, according to the memo. They can use it to challenge only called fouls, goaltending, basketball interference, and plays when the ball is knocked out of bounds.
That looks like a great day to go fly.
Ignition sequence start.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
We have a liftoff.
It's the science show. With him on the rhythm, you know we don't stop. Are you serious? Science up to the mountaintops. The elevator man.
Liftoff is right. So basketball's highest priority is a superstar, and he has not played 1 minute of professional basketball. But we want to know more about the phenom who will change the face of the Pelicans. So with that, we will give you Zion Williamson in his own words.
He is a completely different phenomenon. The face of basketball.
The millennials basketball star.
This is the life that I wanted ever since I was 4 years old. I'm loving it.
The number one pick goes to the New Orleans Pelicans.
I just want to say I appreciate the love that they're showing, and if I end up in that city, it's good. Zion Williamson here, and I just landed in New York. I'm very excited to be here, and I can't wait for Thursday night. It does feel really good to be up here.
I can tell you about it all night. I got a feeling this is unforgettable.
They said we should go with the cream white, so my mom hasn't steered me wrong to this point, so I said, all right, let's do it. Honestly, I don't know. I don't know how I'm going to react. I don't know if I'm going to cry. I don't know if I'm going to have this giant smile on my face.
With the first pick, the New Orleans Pelicans select Zion Williamson.
My mom sacrificed a lot for me. I wouldn't be here without my mom. Don't even seem real that I just shook his hand. Me? Number one, my dream came true. Zion, welcome to the family. Let's dance. Passing the torch. Am I ready to take that on? City of New Orleans.
Got a feeling this is unforgettable.
Let's dance, folks. The torch will indeed be passed from Anthony Davis to Zion, who, along with Kevin Durant, are the only three freshmen all time to win the Wooden Award. Zion also joins Davis as the only number one overall picks in the Pelicans franchise history. He'll lead a new era in New Orleans as Davis heads to L.A. to play with LeBron.
Not 3, not 4, not 5, not 6.
Finds James. James has done it. LeBron does it again.
He's at the park right now. He's out there playing around.
LeBron James captures that elusive title he so desperately coveted. It's back-to-back titles for the Heat.
Well, LeBron continues to be a generous superstar, saying goodbye to 23 and bringing back his 6 for his new teammate, AD. Well, Anthony Davis, for you all, has a sworn 23 in his 7 seasons with the Pelicans. LeBron rocked number 6 with the Heat and the Olympics, so confirmation apparently from LeBron as well. Yesterday, sending out a tweet of praise. So take a look. LeBron is only one to do it. Remember, Jordan wore 45 when he came out of retirement in 1995. That was a fun fact. He also wore the number 12 once, so LeBron's not the only one doing it. Kobe, also, my dear friend, the only player to have 2 jerseys retired by one team. He wore number 8 for his first 10 seasons, and then he switched to 24, understandably. LeBron just likes to switch it up as well. He wore 23 for both of his stints in Cleveland, and then number 6 in Miami. What does that all mean, actually? What does number 6 mean now that he's passing the torch, Nabil? Does it mean that there's another chip coming? What do you think?
I think it means people who bought that 23 jersey are kind of ticked off. That's what I think. I have a buddy named Flash, okay? He texted me yesterday and was like, OMG. He's like, now I got to sell my 23 jersey. And I'm like, what LeBron fan is going to buy a discount? They want a number 6 jersey, right? And my boy, he's too cheap to buy another one. So he's in a bit of a tough spot right now.
Really, these are tough decisions you have to make as a fan. I never thought about that. Thank you for putting that in perspective for me, Nabil.
Right, the six is a big deal. Let's go from one 6 to another here in Kiss It Goodbye Thursdays. Pirates take it on the Astros. Top of the 5th. Pirates up 6-0. Starling Marte at the plate, and he's going to clobber this one. That one is deep. The Pirates shutting out the Astros 10-0. Your final there. The Nationals taking on the Marlins. Top 6. Tied at 4, Victor Robles at the plate with the man on second. Hits a shot deep to left field, 2-run homer, 12th of the year for him. And then the dugout, they're loving it. How about that right there? A little swag. Nationals winning 8-5. Mets at the Phillies, bottom 9, tied at 3. Gene Segura up to bat, runners on first and second. And this is how you do it in style. Walk-off home run, 10th dinger of the year. The Phillies sweeping the Mets with Segura's first career walk-off, getting some nice air there. Phillies winning this one 6-3 final.
This year, summer in London isn't just for tennis. Before the fortnight starts at Wimbledon, the Yankees and Red Sox bring America's pastime across the pond. Sunday, baseball's greatest rivalry on brand new ground. Monday, the oldest championship in tennis begins again. And it's all on ESPN.
All right, new on SportsCenter, here's Masahiro Tanaka warming up earlier today. The Yankees and Red Sox get going at London Stadium tomorrow with Tanaka facing off against Rick Porcello. New York has won each of Tanaka's last 3 starts. Buster Olney is in London, and he joins us now. Buster, I wonder if the field is going to be an issue here. They put it together pretty quick. The dimensions are really small. Do you think it's going to be a factor in this series?
It's interesting, but after talking with Yankees and Red Sox players after they took batting practice here today, they feel like that the ball's not necessarily flying, that it's not going to be the bandbox that I think folks made it out to be when they heard that the dimension to straightaway center field was 385 feet, which is shorter than any other ballpark. But here's a couple things to remember. To the alleys, to right center, left center field, because the baseball diamond was dropped into an oval, it's 382 feet, which is much longer. And the foul territory here is huge. In fact, there's more foul territory here in this stadium than there is in any ballpark in baseball. One thing to watch for in our game on Sunday, which starts at 3 o'clock local time, 10 o'clock Eastern time, is that the sun is going to be directly into the eyes of the center fielders. So if you're Aaron Hicks, if you're Jackie Bradley Jr., you could potentially struggle with balls hit right at you, right into the teeth of that sun.
Feels like this season for the Yankees anyways, anywhere they play, they're going to mash. Let's talk about the other New York team, the Mets right now. It is a gong show. They've blown multi-run leads in 5 straight games. And to make matters worse, you had that confrontation with the reporter, and apparently their GM is making in-game decisions. Buster, what is going on there?
Well, it's a mess. And let's face it, Bill, they're getting to the point now where they have to seriously consider blowing this up and saying, look, it's just not happening in 2019. At the end of yesterday's play, they're 11 games out of first place in the National League East. According to Fangraphs, their chances for winning the division, 1%. Chances for being a wild card team, 5.9%, which is why Brodie Van Wagenen and their general manager should be on the phone today calling other teams and saying, look, we're preparing for the possibility of selling maybe a Zach Wheeler, perhaps a Noah Syndergaard, perhaps an Edwin Diaz, their closer.
Interesting times ahead for that team. I don't think anyone saw it coming up like this, but it did. Thank you, Buster. Enjoy London. And let's stick with London right now,
Absolutely. It's going to be great.
Because they're putting on their own little twist of the national president's race for the Yankees-Red Sox this weekend. Our Marley Rivera tweeting this out earlier this morning. That's Henry VIII, Winston Churchill, Freddie Mercury, and the Loch Ness Monster. Carrie.
Listen, Marley, thank you for this tweet. I feel like this race was completely unfair because I feel like if, in fact, your head is too heavy, you can't win the race. You know what I'm saying to Bill?
I see a lot of chicken legs there, and I know chicken legs because I have them. That's why I'm not standing up here.
Funny on you, Nabil.
Sunday, we'll have the exclusive AL NL All-Star Game roster announcements at 5:30 Eastern, 2:30 Pacific, right here on ESPN and ESPN the app. No chicken legs. We'll be there with the All-Stars there. They are strong. The All-Star Game, July the 9th.
All right, from GOAT and not a good way to genius, Rob Pelinka may have turned around the Lakers' fortunes with one move, but how does he keep it rolling with the start of free agency just 48 hours away? Ask me, Rob. So welcome back to Coast to Coast. They needed the money. They have the money. Lakers get Wizards to buy into the Anthony Davis deal and unload the contracts of 3. Anthony Davis also agreed to waive his trade bonus, and now Lakers have $32 million in cap space to chase a big fish or maybe fill out that roster. How'd they get it done? It's interesting. Our front office insider, Bobby Marks, joins us now. It was just, I'd like to say 3 weeks ago when we thought Lakers were done, finished, kaput. And things have changed in a short period of time. So what do you make of the job that Rob Pelinka has done in L.A. thus far?
Well, I don't know if we've given Rob Pelinka and his front office enough credit here as far as what they've been able to do. And we rewind a year ago, it certainly started with LeBron James, 2 weeks ago with the Anthony Davis trade, and then, of course, yesterday to be able to move those 3 players, especially Mo Wagner, to Washington to clear up that room. Now you have $32 million. And, Carrie, I think that the one thing that's missing from this conversation is what they were able to do at the end of March, early April, when they signed Jamario Jones to a 2-year contract. And basically, by signing him to that 2-year contract, they were able to put him in the deal. And if they hadn't done that, this deal yesterday would not have been able to be done. So you got to give Rob Pelinka in that group in Los Angeles a lot of credit for how they've constructed this roster so far.
I know, Bobby, the entire conversation has changed about the Lakers, and you're right. So now that they have $32 million in cap space, they only have 4 players on the roster at the moment. What are their options? Can you break that down for us come Sunday?
Well, yeah, they have 2 options, Carrie. You've got $32 million in cap space, and I think what we're looking at is we're looking at 4 players right here. It certainly starts with Kawhi Leonard, Kyrie Irving, Jimmy Butler, and perhaps D'Angelo Russell. And I think if it is a player like Kawhi Leonard, that takes all your money. So your $32 million is now used up in one player. And now we are looking at bargain shopping here. You have the $4.8 million room exception. We've talked about a player potentially like TJ McConnell here. And now you have the $1.6 million exception as far as Jamal Crawford, Troy Daniels, players like that. And then, Kerry, there's also the second option, and this is the best option here, is taking that money and now splitting it amongst players. And it could be potentially in a player like Danny Green, potentially like Patrick Beverley, who we've talked about here. And you're balancing your roster. You still have $10 million in cap space to fill out your bench. You have the $4.8 million room exception. You have the $1.6 million exception to exceed the cap. And this kind of gives you an insurance policy in case there is an injury to an Anthony Davis or LeBron James during the season.
Okay, so Bobby, 2 takeaways. The second option sounds like the best to fill out that roster. The second takeaway is your skill set on that touchscreen is just superb, my friend. So we're just 2 days away from the start of free agency. Bobby Marks getting us all set, touching and going and touching and going here on Coast to Coast. Thank you, my friend.
Thanks, Carrie.
Francis Ngannou grew up idolizing Mike Tyson. He wanted to be Iron Mike in the ring, so he left his home country of Cameroon to pursue his dream. Now, the whole boxing thing, it didn't work out, but MMA certainly did. He's just 1 win away from a title shot in the heavyweight division, just 4 years into the game.
For a long time, I think Mike Tyson was ubiquitously regarded as the baddest man on the planet. Tyson defeated Trevor Berbick by second-round TKO November of 1986. At that point, he won the WBC heavyweight title. Coincidentally, just 2 months prior to Tyson winning that title, Francis Ngannou was born.
When I was in Cameroon, I be interested in boxing long time because that is when I promised myself to try my dream, and then I leave everything. When I first come to France, is my opportunity to do something great. I'm homeless when I came to France.
He didn't have money to pay anything.
I said I want a boxing coach. I don't have any money, but I just want training.
He was thinking about boxing, so I started working boxing with him.
First day, he told me, you have good potential, but in France, MMA is better. And then I say, what is MMA?
I started to try to convince him to do that sport. Can you just roll on the map? And then we talk, and that's how we get there.
Maybe this is the opportunity that I need since I am born. Maybe this is my destiny.
Francis is an absolutely brutal knockout artist.
4 years ago, this dude didn't even know what MMA was. I mean, that is incredible.
We might be staring at a future UFC heavyweight champion, Francis Ngannou, ladies and gentlemen.
Not to be confused with Zion. Remember that, guys. Our next UFC night, Fight Night, is on ESPN tomorrow at 9 Eastern Pacific, 6 Pacific, and the heavyweight main event should be a slugfest. Francis Ngannou taking on former champ Junior Dos Santos at the Target Center in Minneapolis. Early prelims, 6 Eastern, 3 Pacific. Be sure to download the ESPN app if you're watching on your mobile device or visit ESPNplus.com.
It's just one game, but it's looking like a smart decision by the Cubs to sign Craig Kimbrell. He got a rock-star welcome in the 9th by the Chicago faithful at Wrigley yesterday, and the dude was throwing heat, hitting 97.6 miles per hour on his first pitch. He got the first 2 outs. Yeah, there was a little bit of drama after, but in the end, he closed it out, picking up